sport has the power to change the world.
We kick off 2019 quite literally with one of the great South African sports stories of the last 12 months. Late last year, history made as South Africa's women's football team, Banyana Banyan, secured the runners-up spots at the Africa Cup of Nations and in the process booked an historic berth at the World Cup later this year. January also marks a year since we hosted the coach of that team, Des Ellis, a Laureus Ambassador, who spelled out her dreams for the year. Well, she certainly knocked those out of the park.
We have a lot of belief, and I think that is so important. And the first game, we know we want to get a positive result, but we want to make sure that when the World Cup's over, that people say, wow.
Plus, it's a bumper sporting year with rugby, cricket and football World Cups, not to mention the golf majors, World Championships, the Tour de France, and so the list goes on. We catch up with a number of our ambassadors to see what they'll be keeping a close eye on and also putting their heads on the proverbial block as they pick their favourites. I'm Jean Smythe, your host of the Power Sport podcast, which you can find via the Laureus Sport for Good Foundation's Facebook page and Twitter account. Be sure to like us so you don't miss an update. We'd love to hear from you. We're also really pleased to say that Jacaranda FM are also hosting the Power of Sport on their podcast page, Jackpot. Africa Cup of Nations as a player? Tick. Africa Cup of Nations as a coach? Tick. CAF Women's Coach of the Year? Tick. And off to the World Cup as coach of Banyana Banyan? Tick. Des Ellis' star continues to soar. So naturally, with great success comes huge demands on your time. And so when she tells the Power of Sport that she literally has 5 minutes for a quick catch-up in Cape Town between meetings, training and matches, we naturally go into referees' optional time and we squeeze out 6.
A very good year for us, but we also prepared really well. Qualifying for the World Cup is the ultimate, and for the first time ever, it makes it even more amazing. Pity we couldn't bring back the trophy, but we reached the mandate and now it's full steam ahead to prepare for the World Cup.
That video of the team greeting you on your return was really, really special. You probably saw it went viral, as the kids say these days. But I suppose that speaks a lot about the environment and what you've managed to instill in the squad.
When I arrived, I was texting the manager and the next minute I was taken out of the group and I'm wondering what's happening. And then she texted me privately and asked me where I was, and I said, well, I'm still here. She said, don't worry, the driver's coming to fetch you. So I had no idea what was happening, but it's just amazing because it's through their efforts and the efforts of the technical team, but it just shows how united we are, how together we are. You cannot be a coach and not care. I think that's the most important criteria. And the welcome was so amazing. I had goosebumps and everything, and it was just a group hug, but I never knew. And afterwards I got back in the group, so it was extremely amazing. And then getting Tembi at the airport and we're having this guard of honor, and Tembi goes around and sort of hugs everyone. It's not something we normally used to, but it just shows the togetherness, the unity we have within the team, and it was really something special.
Without putting yourselves against your male colleagues in Bafana, it is fair to say that Banyana are the nation's hope at the moment, but also your achievements as a team probably transcend football in a way in a country where the plight of women and children is of national concern. That must be really gratifying in terms of what you guys are able to do beyond sport.
You don't realize the magnitude of what you do as a team. And when we came to Tambo, you then realize how big it is. When we win, the whole country wins. We put smiles on the people's faces. But I think it's been fantastic for women in sport in general, with Custer doing so well. Krige, the wheelchair tennis player, has been magnificent with little resources. And then you have the netball team and the cricket team. The cricket team might not have done so well at this World Cup, but they've been in the forefront. So it's a really good period for women in sport. But I think the achievements of Banyana Banyan has really taken our football to a different level. With the National League starting this year, it's just come at the right time, and with us qualifying for the 2019 World Cup, it's just come at the correct time.
We spoke a year ago, and since that it's been a fairly rapid escalator to success, and certainly from your perspective. But you do know that at some point disappointment will likely come. I mean, that's just the nature of life. How will you draw on this positive period in those difficult times?
There's always disappointment in life. It's how you get up from it. And I think the one disappointment was not winning the AFCON title. I'm extremely disappointed. Some were in tears because they wanted it that badly. But you learn from those experiences. And the Nigerian team has been in that that position on many occasions. And the penalties is a lottery. So we were disappointed, but we knew we gave our all. And I think that has really driven the players. We look back at 2014 when we were so close to qualifying for the 2015 World Cup. Could have won the game before half-time, but we didn't. I think that drives you, to succeed. And I think that is what has driven the likes of Janine and them for the last 4 years to qualify for this World Cup. And disappointments happen, but it's how you get up from that, and now you then change things to maybe not be in that position as often as you want to. But we know what happens in life, and you've got to draw from that and then become better.
I saw a social media post. You travelled away, got a few days away over the festive period, spent some time with your family. It looked great. Have you had some time, just quiet moment to reflect on what's happened?
Well, not really, You travel with your laptop because you have to do reports, but there's a few days that I was just lazing around and I didn't realize how exhausted I was, falling asleep at 11 o'clock and waiting for New Year to come, So it's been really hectic, but you try and catch a few moments here and there. And for the big year that we're in now, with the preparation for the World Cup, there's going to be very little time, but we're fortunate that we have a masseuse in our group so we can go for those little relaxing massages. And I think that is key, that we just take a little bit of time out to refresh the batteries, the same like the players do, and then come back and give you all that you can.
Success at the World Cup will be?
Well, it's a difficult draw, but no one gave us a chance at AFCON. We were not touted as one of the three that would go to the World Cup, and even against Nigeria. But we have a lot of belief, and I think that is so important. And the first game, we know we want to get a positive result, but we want to make sure that when the World Cup's over, that people say wow, because already women's football in South Africa has been elevated. When we were at the World Cup, everybody, was brandishing cards. We want to play you, and that's shown how the game has grown. So the credit goes to all the Saturday coaches. Coach Mkonza qualified the team for 2012. Coach Vera qualified the team for 2016 Olympics. And, you got to give credit to those that have come before. But I work with a fantastical technical team, the performance analyst and the assistant coach. And together we can make dreams come true.
Go well, Des. Thank you for inspiring us.
Thanks for having me, John.
Like the lady herself, short, sharp, concise, and exactly to that point. We look forward to seeing her team continue to fly in 2019. Well, the Laureus World Sports Awards are just around the corner, and as you probably know, our own Siya Kolisi is in line for one of those. The inspirational Springbok captain made history after being selected to lead his country for the first time in 2018, an iconic, historic sporting moment. It's an award that will be handed out in Monaco, but is the subject of a public vote. So go to Laureus.com and get voting.
So I say I'm really grateful for being nominated for the Laureus Sporting Moment of the Year. It was an awesome year, 2018, and I'm the only South African nominated this year, so it would really mean a lot for people to get behind me. And not only will I win, the rest of South Africa will win as well. So please go vote at www.laureus.com for the Sporting Moment of the Year. Thank you so much, guys. It means a lot. Cheers.
Well, as we've been saying, 2019 is a bumper sporting year. We simply cannot wait. And we all love to pick a winner in advance in the hope of looking, smart among our peers. So we caught up with some of our ambassadors to see which event they were particularly looking forward to. Shaun Pollock, Corne, Krige, Zanele Mdodana, and current Springbok hooker Schalk Brits all laid it on the line for us.
When we talk about sporting events for the year, there are so many to look forward to, and we really are spoiled for choice. For me, there's so many I could pick from. I love the Masters, absolutely love the Masters golf. It's just something special about it. And then we've got the Rugby World Cup, which will be taking place, which we've got an opportunity to win. The women, how they're going to get on at the Soccer World Cup will be always an interesting one as well. But for me, it would have to be the month of July. It's my birthday month, and there is so much going on there. We've got the Tour de France, you've got the British Open, you've got Wimbledon, which is my favorite tennis event by far, and then, of course, the Cricket World Cup, which finishes on the 14th of July. Hopefully, the Proteas will be in that final at Lord's, and it could be a special occasion. So for me, it'll be the month of July, and you can pick any of those events. So many to watch and enjoy.
I suppose the one that really makes me the most excited is the Rugby World Cup in Japan. My heart wants the Springboks to win, but I'd say that Ireland and New Zealand are probably going to be the favourites.
I think 2019 is really an exciting year where sport is concerned. We've got the Netball World Cup happening in Liverpool. I think after the way our Spar Proteas performed during this quad series against England, Australia, New Zealand, beating England in that game and going to extra time against New Zealand, it completely blows the World Cup open. You know, there's definitely no guaranteed winner, if I can put it that way, because in previous years, we've always known that Australia and New Zealand will meet in that final. But now with the competitiveness of all the other teams, Uganda coming up, Jamaica still being the underdog, you know, not knowing what they're going to produce. South Africa can go into a World Cup for the first time in a very long time, knowing that their chances to win are just as good as any other team. Really, it's been an impressive performance and growth from our Spar Proteas. So that's definitely one thing I'm looking forward to. And I think we can surprise a lot of nations. That's how good our girls are currently performing. And obviously, I'm looking forward to the Rugby World Cup with Siya Kolisi leading our Springboks. It's really going to be an amazing opportunity for him. And I hope really our boys can go out there and really perform well and lift that trophy and bring it back home.
My favourite sporting events that I'm most looking forward to this year is definitely the Rugby World Cup. And of course, the Springboks being very successful and lifting the trophy. Secondly, the Cricket World Cup, the same for the Proteas. And then lastly, but not least, Augusta. Hopefully one of the South Africans can put on the green jackets. Yeah, looking forward to those three sporting events.
And we couldn't leave without stoking up an old rivalry or two. And while these two aren't predictions of events per se, it's a little bit of what we can expect from the All Blacks and Australia's cricketers respectively in 2019 after they had indifferent at times 2018. Here's Sean Fitzpatrick and Steve Waugh speaking to us late last year.
Rassie Erasmus has done a good job in terms of changing the belief in the players. I think Kolisi is turning into an outstanding leader of men, which is important. And we had two great games. We had a game in Wellington that, you know, no one saw that coming. And ironically, at the end of the day, they were phenomenal. And then they almost did it in Pretoria, where maybe we probably should have won the game in Wellington, and you guys should have won in Pretoria. But ironically, you know, with the World Cup only 11 months away, it's probably a good learning that they've had, the South Africans. It's definitely a good learning for us. You know, we unearthed a number of players throughout the championship, really, that we thought we wouldn't need. So I think it's good for both sides. That rivalry is as strong as ever, it's as healthy as ever. You can just see the mutual respect of the two teams. And it's good for sport. It's good for the people here to see rivalry like that. And then you can see them, you know, getting on after the game and even before the game. So, yeah. Sport, you know, has the power to change the world, as Mr. Mandela said.
The last time I saw you was at the awards, and it was just ahead of the South Africa-Australia Test Series. We know in terms of what happened in that series, and perhaps that might have been a bit of a watershed for Australian sport, let alone Australian cricket. What's the overarching mood or emotion, do you think, certainly from you and perhaps in Australia at the moment, about what's changed?
Well, I think it affected world sport, really. It wasn't just Australian sport. I think it was good because it made, I guess, people accountable for their actions. And for too long, cricket sort of sat pretty idle on those things, ball tampering and very minor sort of fines for captains in the past. And the captains have got to lead the way. I think Australian cricket, to their credit, they weren't hard. I mean, it was a pretty severe penalty that guys have paid, but to their credit, they accepted it and got on with it. And the good thing about that is it's a valuable lesson to all sports kids around the world that you know, you've got to play fair, play hard, and if you step outside those boundaries, then there's going to be a penalty to pay for.
What does the future hold for Australian cricket, do you feel? Do you feel it's gone through a bit of a dip and it's now on the way up, or does it have to kind of lie fallow for a bit?
We've got plenty of good players, we've got good systems there in place, and generally we've got good leaders. So I think Steve Smith, you know, Dave Warner, those Cameron Bancroft, they can all make it back. And the good thing is when they do come back, there's going to be 3 or 4 players who've got experience that wouldn't have got experience, and let's hope when they're all available that the side has got, you know, a lot of players to choose from.
Well, that's a wrap from our first episode of the year. We look forward to spending time in your company again in 2019 and to grow our family even further. If you found this episode in iTunes, then please rate it and comment. If you found it on Twitter and enjoyed the podcast, well, please retweet it with your followers. If you enjoyed it, they will too. As always, you can let us know what you'd like to hear from the Power of Sport team. You can do that via Laureus South Africa on social media. Don't forget to like that Facebook page. In February, we can't wait for the World Sports Awards in Monaco, one of the absolute highlights of the year. So we'll catch up again after that. A big thank you as always to the production team and everybody that's made this episode possible. From myself, Shaun Smythe, until next time, cheers.